Hey guys, thought I'd walk you through what's going on. Here I am looking down the slope, see wind coming up. Get some wind, so I open up my wing just a little bit. And now I'm checking to just double check all my lines aren't tangled. Checked earlier, but I'm checking again. Now I'm making sure wind's still good before I raise my wing off into the air. I inflate it, make sure it's balanced over my head, then I spin around, run down the hill until I start flying. Now I'm in the air. That's Squawk Mountain, sort of ahead of us and to the left. We're off of Tiger Mountain. The hill sort of ahead of us on the right is the King Dome, just right close to us. It's a good place to get lift. Behind that, you can kind of see is the North Ridge, and I'll be skipping to that in just a little bit. There's not too many wings in the air right now, but there will be. There's a bunch of people just came up in a shuttle. We'll see them later. And now we're going to go to later in the flight where I was catching a big thermal off of North Ridge. Yeah, here I am. So we're at about 3,200 feet right now. And there's this guy above me that I'm just kind of keeping an eye on while I'm circling. This is kind of dizzying, so I totally understand if you decide not to watch this. But yeah, I'm keeping an eye on him. And I'm just getting a lot higher in the thermal. He yelled a woo at me as he went by one time, and so I made sure to woo back at him. I think that's proper paragliding etiquette. Yeah, so I'm getting pretty high right now. I get up to about 4,100 feet this flight, and you can see that guy's a fair bit above me, but you can see a lot of people sort of at my level and below me. You can see a couple people, 3 paragliders that you can make out there, and then a bunch of tiny dots, which are paragliders near launch. And so, yeah, that's kind of fun to see just how close to the ground they look from way up here. Yeah, so I'm getting pretty high here. That you can see on the top of that mountain, there's this little bare patch, and that's a area that they're logging, and you can kind of see some cell phone towers in the back of it. I think I have a snapshot here. Yeah. And then, so I've actually flown around those cell phone towers in the back of there, and that was a pretty cool flight too. So yeah, you can see that guy's still, I don't know, 200 feet above me, and we're both getting pretty close to the clouds. And the reason all these cumulus clouds all kind of hang out at the same level is that they the air rises, and it kind of the moisture settles at the spot where the heat profile is such that the air doesn't rise anymore. And so clouds, once you get into a cloud, it can be kind of dangerous because they can suck you up. And so you don't want to get too close to them, and you can't see in clouds, and so it's hard to know which way you're facing. So I kind of bailed out of that thermal, and I don't know, you can kind of see that I'm still going up. Might be hard to tell. So I'm trying to get out of the area with the clouds back to where the air is sinking. And I think I get out of it about here. And I have a sort of a sense of relief as I'm no longer going up when I don't want to. But now I switch to, sorry, this is 2.5 speed because there's a lot of the flight left. But I thought that this was such a cool view of these clouds that I had to stop and give you a little picture right there. Yeah. And so the rest of the video is just me flying over, and I was so high up, I thought I'd fly over to Issaquah. And it was pretty cool. And I was kind of hoping I'd catch some more thermals, but I never really did. In retrospect, I think I should have stayed closer to those clouds over on my right. And then I could, anytime I got low, I could maybe just catch a little thermal under the clouds and then sort of bail out at the top of that. But instead, I think clouds are often a good indicator of where thermals are when cumulus clouds are present. The clouds, the higher more uniform looking clouds, I think, are altocumulus, and those are often, those don't really help you because they're too far away, and they often they'll just block the sun, so it doesn't have any thermal generating capabilities. The big highway under me is I-90. The lake is Lake Sammamish on the left. And then this big grassy patch with all the sort of modern development looking homes is Issaquah Highlands. And that's where I'm going to land. What's pretty crazy to me is that just to the left of Issaquah Highlands is this big mine. And you can see from the air how much area that mine takes up. And yeah, it's just funny to me to have this like sort of very posh city where a large amount of the real estate is just used up by, I don't know, even know what they're mining. But yeah, rest of this is just me coming into land. And this is 2.5 times speed, so you can see paragliding's a lot of kind of just sitting around in the air and waiting. And I am trying to find, the reason I keep turning my head and leaning back and forth is that I am trying to find some thermals. I'm right over that building under me was the hospital. You could see it just a little bit ago. There you go. That's a good view of the hospital. And last time I went to the Highlands, I caught some good thermals over the hospital. I was hoping to now, but nothing doing really. So yeah, paragliding is a much more relaxed thing than you'd expect. This is a pretty low. There I am trying to catch a thermal. Thermals are kind of narrow, so you have to turn around while you're in them. That's why I'm spiraling. But I didn't end up gaining any altitude. I'm not sure if I ended up losing it either, but and yeah, there's the field I'm gonna land in, and I think I'm gonna go back to normal speed now, so you guys can sort of see the landing, see what's going on. I actually landed in this field, and it was the second time I landed there, and it was my second on-purpose non-landing zone landing. And right after I landed, this Albanian woman landed, and it was her first time ever. There I am trying to catch one last thermal. No, ground, you can't have me. All right, you can. This Albanian woman landed, and yeah, she took off from Albania earlier in the day. No, I'm just kidding. But it was her first time landing in the Highlands, so she was pretty excited. And she wanted to celebrate, and so we got some French fries at a French fries at a burger place, because neither of us remembered to bring our IDs in the air. So maybe that's a good future lesson for me in case I want to go grab a beer in a random place. But there's probably more important things I could be carrying. The first time I landed in these, see that big hill right below me? I almost landed on top of that hill. My feet were like dragging on it. This time I came in a little higher. You can see my shadow off to the right there. That's kind of fun. I'm a little worried about overshooting it, so I'm sort of doing a little S-turns, freaking out the cars. Trying to lose just a little bit more altitude. And so here I am in that field, trying to slow myself down. Kind of wish I'd slowed myself down a little bit more because I landed a little hard. It wasn't that bad, but I would love to be good at gentle landings. Yeah, so now I'm on the ground. And sort of just taking stock. I always feel like a little disoriented once I end up on the ground. I had to get my lines twisted the right way over my head. And now here I am pinning my brakes back onto my risers. And there I am looking at my little flight measuring device that you can't see, that's out of camera. And yeah, thanks for watching, guys.